We are operating on a frequency of 52 megacycles by authority of the Federal Communications Commission. A test program follows. To you who have been trained technically, I need hardly say that there's still a number of problems to solve. I guess you know them as well as anybody knows them. But I think we've proceeded far enough to justify the statement, at least, that these technical problems are not insurmountable.
I'll show them you some mouse screen. Give me predictions.
You're not muted, by the way.
I'm not muted.
So that's an awesome end to it. That was great camaraderie between the two. Now moving on to the blue game.
I'm Patrick, and I'm one of the guys from Keyfrogs. I played Keyforge like 2 days about after it came out, as Torvald showed it to me. And like I have lows and highs on how much I've played it. In some periods I haven't played it as much, and in some periods I've played it very much. And yeah, the Keyfrogs team is like we have known each other for like over 10 years. I think, yeah, over 10 years, about 10 years. So we know each other really well, and it's really nice to actually have done something that we dreamt of so long, like making a stream. So that's pretty nice. And my deck, Bitflare, I can't remember anything else in the name, but it is my highest SAS deck. Bitflare, the Evolutionary Pit Navigate. It is my highest SAS deck at 87. And for me, when I play it, it just feels like a really solid value game plan where you just keep on destroying your opponent's stuff and then develop them creatures yourself. And then to the rush game plans, it has quite a bit of denial. Not as much as I would want it, but it has kind of, most of the times it has enough. Like with an Anthony, a Anguish with a damage icon, a Infernus and stuff like that. But like other control decks or value decks that just like, if a deck have Auto-Encoder or Dark Amber Vault and that kind of stuff, it can really like just trash in this deck if I don't make a lot of amber early. So I hope to go against like another deck that really wants to get the board and can high roll if they get the board, because this is really good at destroying the opponent's board with the shadow part, which has 2 look over there, 4 muck, 1 sack of coins, a tempting offer, and a subtle auto with a damage icon. So the shadow parts like just removes the opponent's board unless they're Saurian. Yeah, very controlling. I think the reason why I chose this deck first was because it cannot really high roll. It's pretty consistent. Of course, it can high roll the Jericho on turn 1. But there's not like any artifacts that really good to get out early, something like the Dominator Bauble, and it has a lot of duplicates. Not a lot, it has quite a lot of duplicates, and it just controls the board. So I chose it first because like I think that the later we get into the matches, the better the decks will be, and I will have to maybe I will have to high roll later in the stages. But for now, I'll just take a consistent deck that I hope can win the first match. Maybe not against this team, because I'm kind of scared, I must say. Bitflare is one of my... it is one of my most played decks. So I have played it just like very much. I don't think I've prepared a lot for like this battle, but because we have to use deck from each other, I have played the other decks that are not mine very much because, well, I need to get used to them. So when I play them, I don't like screw up or something. At least not as much as I could. I wish him good luck, and I still hope that I win.
Okay. Yeah, I started Keyforge, playing Keyforge in 2018, and realized that there was a small game shop nearby. It's like 5 minutes from my home, and yeah, realized that there's a very, very nice community in that shop, namely the Hamburg Atlanteans. So basically, a group formed of about 8 to 9 people. So compared to other countries and other stores, it is a rather small community. But yeah, some of the players are very serious about it. So we have a very strong meta game, and yeah, having a lot of fun almost every Wednesday. until it stopped for the coronavirus. The deck, Odin, is quite well known in Italy mainly. You realize that while playing online. So every time I play against an Italian, it is recognized, which is quite interesting. So it's kind of famous. It is pretty strong, I think. You can see it from the stats. Is very well balanced. And the interesting thing about the deck is it does not feel too strong, as it's not very explosive. But no, I'd say you rather play solid turns. But the real deal with the deck is that it makes the life of your opponent very miserable, because they often have to choose the house you select for them by having 3 times control the week, or not being able to play any actions due to Scrambler Storm. So whereas your turns are quite solid, the opponent's turn are rather weak. So that's the strength of this deck. And it belongs to a friend of mine. I'd hope to gather some points with it, so it's definitely not the strongest deck for me, as I have a lot more experience in playing other decks that occur later on in our lineup. I just tried to get a general feeling for the deck, make like 7 to 8 games with it, and so far it went very well. So only 9 games, 1 loss and 8 wins. It's quite solid. So I hope that this streak goes on.
The first thing that you see looking at these decks is 92 SAS in Odin. It is disgusting amount, and most of it is located in this. We have thrice control the week. Your opponent wants to choose a house, but of course you know better what is good for them, and maybe more importantly what is good for you. 1 poltergeist, which give you a crucial artifact control in these hard times, and some universal creatures that will always help you, and these all things sum up to 41 SAS in only 1 of 3 houses of this deck.
Yeah, but to balance that, we have also 1 house that is not so good. We have we have house shadows, which is usually very good in KOTE, but unfortunately not in this deck. It's only 20 SAS, and it is very mediocre. And I wouldn't play Dodger in this matchup, because the opponent has a double mark of this. And we don't want to go back into shadows. So unless I had pawn sacrifices to just kill him right away, I wouldn't play it. And Bad Penny and Key of Darkness are just straight discards. Do we have even any good cards in shadows, Antek?
Of course, each Keyforge deck is generated completely randomly, so something good went to this house. We have Double Miasma, which is really good card, and usually it is really fine, but in this particular deck we also have a interdimensional graft. If you play Miasma and have graft in hand, you can simply give your opponent turn when any amber they generate is then stolen to you. There are some marks of this that can disrupt it, but opponent doesn't always have right target, especially if you are playing shadows with only 1 creature above 2 power. But interdimensional graft is not the only card that's good in Logos. What are the other, Vilki?
Yes, the Logos house is also very good in this deck. So we have a lot of efficiency, because we have Time Traveler, Mother, and Phase Shift. We have also Novu Archaeologist, which can archive our best cards, or it can even create a soft lock with a Scrambler Storm, so the opponent wouldn't be able to play any actions, or it can archive the Phase Shift, possibly into a couple of Control the Weak turns out of the Logos house. So it has a few tricks up its sleeve. So all in all, what do you think about this matchup, Antek?
There are a few cards that we have to fear. Firstly, mentioned twice already, Marks of this, which are always a good card, and similarly to our Control the Weak, let us make huge disruption turns.
But
But there's
a
also
bit worse. A bit worse.
yes, a bit worse. You can force shadows when they don't have any more than 2 power creature. But there are also other really good cards, uh, mainly Captain Valierico and uh, Anguish, simply because Odin struggles to fight with these high power creatures that has to be dealt 6 damage to die, and Capitan Valierico will allow you to play cards from out of your house even if Control the Weak was played, and Anguish will simply stay on board and make your opponent keys much worse. Overall, Vilky, what do you think? How is this matchup?
I think it's again heavily favored for Odin, but Bitflare would need a bit of luck to win, mainly if it can play Valgerico on the first turns and make the Control the Weak weaker, or if we can't find the gateway or key to these on time and the captain stays on board for much longer. So all in all, I would say like we have at least 70% chance to win. Do you agree?
Well, in fact, I think that's much higher, but maybe this 92 SAS number is too charming to give it just a 70% win rate. But let's say that is this
Okay.
70.
It's very intimidating number, I must say. So let's see what our friends think about this matchup from their perspective.
Yeah, so here we have Bitflare, the evolutionary pit navigator, and just by looking at it, I see a nice, well-rounded deck. Unfortunately, without any artifact control, but apart from that, it's a really solid deck. Yeah, what do you think, Robik?
So basically, I see really unusual shadows. So you have lots of mugs, very few steals, but lots of ember bonus, which is really good with sack of coins, making it really good board wipe. Also, these mugs can be used with the Anthony from the Star Alliance. Basically, Anthony captures all of the opponent's amber, and you can basically, so to speak, steal it by mugging your own Anthony with the blast shielding. It's really easy to keep him alive and to use all of the mugs on himself. That's the great combo I see by the first look. And what do you see?
Yeah, I see one of my favorite cards from Mass Mutation. Look over there. And it works well nicely with Anguish. We could target our own Anguish with 6 power. It's unlikely to kill it. And by damaging our own Anguish, we are just, making our opponent's keys really expensive. So that's the first combo I see here. I also see when we are in the disc house, I see Infernus, and in this matchup, Infernus could be a crucial card, purging Control the Weak, purging Graft, and of course purging Time Traveler. When Time Traveler is purged, the help from the future self gets a really big nerf. So yes, that's my second combo. And Subtle Auto, that's also a really premium card here, because our opponent would play a lot of Control the Weaks, a lot of premium cards, let's say, and we have the opportunity to discard this premium cards with our subtle auto. But there is one house that we haven't described yet, Star Alliance. What do you think about it?
So the Star Alliance, basically, a well-rounded house. We can have hold the line to draw. We have Queen of Lux to destroy really bad for us creatures, as well as we have also great creatures ourselves. Captain Valerico, definitely the best leader I see in the Keyforge, and this house, those creatures are basically the best creatures to archive with Grim Reminder. Of course, we see that the opponent has this Sanya, so it can be double-edged sword, but if we are able to wait the Desanya out, or if we can combine the Grim Reminder with Mark of this, there is a high chance the Star Alliance can be the go-to house in this deck.
Yeah, so I have heard a lot of good things about this deck, yet our rating is not so favorable as I remember. So how do you feel about it? What's your rating?
So the thing is, the deck we actually are deconstructed is really good, but its opponent is like a level above. We have a great disruption on 2 levels, because you have the key to this and gateway to this, like making you questioning the board development, as well as you have 2 miasmas and graph questioning your Ember gain. So I feel like we are actually like a huge underdog in this matchup, and most of the decks in this tournament will be the underdog. And yeah, too many plays. Actually, Vilki and Saurus actually describe it really well. I see even more plays in this deck, and I feel like I would give it like less than 90%, less than 10% for us, and even more than 90 for the Odin. It's pretty brutal, but yeah, that's how it goes. What do you think?
Yeah, I think brutal is our word for today, describing this matchups. Unfortunately, so I think that we could settle on 85 to 15. So yeah, that was the last matchup. We deconstructed the last 2 decks. Thank you very much for your attention. It was a pleasure to do it for you. Thank you, Vilki. Thank you, Saurus. Thank you, Robik.
And let's hope to see ourselves here in the next round, covering another 6 decks of this tournament. Hopefully as exciting.
Well, of course, for those of you concentrating, this is only the second one we're showing you, but it may be the third one overall.
Yeah.
So, wow. So firstly, can't touch this. Awesome deck construction, as I've been told to tell it. So from the poll, Brex, I've lost it in front of me. What does the poll say?
The poll was 100% in favour for the Hamburg Atlanteans 2 to win this game.
Interesting. So that's the top decks. That would put the Hamburg Atlanteans on 2-0 if they win this. But look at that opening hand for Hamburg Atlanteans. That's terrified. Double miasma at this point.
Yeah, that was after a mulligan by Iadaly.
It was, yep.
Succubus is a really good turn 1 play. Arcanologist and Spectral Tunnel are good, but the double miasma this early is a real shame. Hold the line is going to be quite good for PAQ. Asp, 1 of 4 mugs, sack of coins, and the look over there. So strong shadows turn out straight away.
Yes, definitely. So let's see how they get on. I mean, this is going to be an exciting game.
So, yeah, turn 1, you definitely start with Succubus. You want to put your opponent on end, but we can see from what's in hand that Succubus isn't going to be around for too much longer. And Help from Future Self ideally drew a very nice card through his hand.
Yeah.
And PAQ getting the Val Jericho with damage pip.
So the Asp is down. As a card, a nightmare card. but it's never not that dangerous. It's not never that much of a problem. So Helpful Shoot self goes down to shuffle the Time Traveler into his hand.
Draws Dodger, Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Not too many artifacts in hand, so Picaroon is going to be a 4-power creature with this, but the Implosion is going to make that back down to 3.
Yep.
That means with a capture is quite good. I do like Picaroon. Picaroon's a really nice card.
Remind us the card.
Picaroon is deploy. It has power equal to both of its neighbours. Drops a double miasma, so PAQ knows not to be worried about that. Val Jericho was in the original opening hand, but was mulliganed away. Plays Hold the Line, draws 1 card, draws a Mark of Dis. Val Jericho with a Blasting Shield, and then Observe Your Max onto the Picaroon, and so much capture from the Blasting Shield onto the Asp. Gets to 6.
So
Cold Week to put back into Shadows. What did you say? Sorry?
I was just going to say this is very interesting to see what's coming down with the 2 Mark of Disses in hand. That's as they were saying. Can't Touch This was saying that with the Dodger in play is interesting because he does not want to be in shadows right now.
No, the Controller Week was very good there, and it's interesting that ideally let PAQ get the first key because Dodger and None of the Thief would definitely be able to stop that key. So we got the Scrambler Storm, which means that we're going to see the market discs are useless. PAQ discards 1, drops the Cinder, drops the Infernus. That puts Val Jericho in the middle, allowing the use of the Subdue. Or the Subdue can't be used because of the Scrambler Storm. So, but Val Jericho is now in position to do some serious work.
Yeah.
8-power Picaroon takes out the Mother. Wants to keep the card draw down. Exactly, not tonight. Dodger has been protected by the Scrambler Storm. Phase shifts the Key of Dis and drops the Dr. Escatar to get 1 extra amber.
Mm-hmm.
Mark of Dis on the Dr. Escatar. I mean, that's ideally is how both players play nice control cards and picking the most optimal choices for these turns.
It's as if they knew the other player's hand almost.
Uses Volcherico to take out Dog Estar, gets to 6, and is just running away with this game, and uses Cinder to Reap, destroys the Infernus. Beautifully done. Interesting choice to discard the Dextra. I guess avoiding other cards, but this just means that Tempting Offer is perfectly valued.
Yeah.
Subdue gets 2. Crewman Jog will have a Star Alliance neighbour, so won't be able to steal. But we see the Antony come down, which means that this first key has been denied yet again.
And can you remind us the text of Antony?
Antony captures all your opponent's amber, and then at the end of your turn, transfers 1 from it back to your opponent. So it's a slow bleed back.
Yeah.
Plays Mug, plays Tempting Offer, Grim Reminder, Drekker, Subtle Otto, Trigon, Researcher, and Explorer.
So I know the game's not over yet, but it looks like everyone who voted in the poll was wrong.
Can't Touch This called this an 85% chance win for Aya Daily, but PAQ is basically putting a Han Solo and saying, don't tell me the odds. Use this Grim Reminder to archive all the Star Alliance back, means Val Jericho is back in the mix. Gets the Drekker down as well. Uses Pit Demon to steal 1. Discards the Gateway, and then needs to deal with Spore because both Drekker and Gamgee are huge issues here. Drekker does have that problem, and beautiful interaction here with Stealer of Souls. Because the damage was dealt by Stealer of Souls to both Drekker and Gamgee, they were able to purge both of them and gain 2 amber for it. So ideally now up to 13. Anthony is in the archive. Anthony is in the discard. Drops the Anguish, gets back up. Oh no, drops the Subtle Otto off the Val Jericho. So we've got a look over there, we've got a Mug, we've got a Quintino Flux, Sensory Chief Garcia with a capture icon.
2 keys to 1. Yeah.
Uses pawn sacrifice to take Captain Valjericho off the flank. Discards by penny. Bait and switch shows up. Double control the weak shows up. Plays Sentry Chief Garcia. Captures onto Trigon. Takes
sense.
Iodale off the key. Plays Anguish with the Valjericho. Reap. Quintino Flux. Most likely on the... it has to be the Pit Demon, which is going to get rid of Valjericho. And uses it on Subtle Otto.
Yeah.
And
makes sense.
there's Charette gets PAQ down to 6, but that is as far as they can go.
Yeah. That's wow.
Valjericho got a few good turns in there, but Iodale did some beautiful work to deal with it. The control the weeks turned up very late, but PAQ takes this win 3 keys to 1.
I mean, Pat played brilliant there. I mean, that was brilliant.
Daily.
Was very nicely done.
GG. That was
Well
very
played.
intense. Yeah, thank you. You too. And also, like, I think one of the more important things were the 2 you mulligan, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and then you just said with your 2 miasmas in hand afterwards.
True.
That was very sad. Who? Yeah. My starting hand was it was at least decent at the first, but I can see why you call it good. And also, the second hand was actually really good of mine. But Ardale, you had 2 miasmas in hand.
After I mulliganed, and that's definitely not the perfect order. So
Definitely not. And I really understand why you didn't keep him, because that would just be so absurd. I mean, they are important for your game plan, but to actually keep him that.
I made such a difference, and also I thought about playing the Dr. S. Kutera. But after he played already 1 mark of this, I thought, I just go for it for the Amber.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah, that was actually pretty defining. Yeah.
So that was tough.
Yeah.
Very well timed.
Yeah, you only played 2 Locust cards the turn. Well, you played 3 because of the key to this, but that was very good. Very lucky for me that all you did was discarding Dexter this turn, I think. And
and you can use the key to this.
Yeah.
That would obviously been far better with a dis setup.
Yeah.
Also, at that point, I was hoping to build up a very nice dis turn. So following up with the creatures I had in hand, and I was hoping, obviously, to get another Control of the Week.
Yeah. Also, I think the last, this turn where you set up all your disc creatures, I think I somehow knew that you didn't have Control of the Week on the hand. No, I'm sorry. The turn after you set up your disc board, where you didn't play Control of the Week, then you had 4 cards left in your deck, and you didn't play Control of the Week. So I think you had 2 Control of the Weeks in the last 4 cards. Is that correct?
Even among the last 3, but
yeah, exactly. So that was actually pretty unlucky. The reason why I took Starlines was because I thought that I just needed to rush before he gets any hold of anything, because I could see that all the deny he has left was his Charette, and what's it called? The reason why I Quintino fluxed my Valjericho was because I think that the only denial he has left was his Pit Demon and his Charette, and I had 9 Amber. So I was like, okay, I gotta kill the Pit Demon.
Was definitely a very good call.
Yeah.
Because then, finally, I had the Control of the Week. So with some disminions that could have been a comeback, but well played.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but the 2 miasmas on turn 1 and the 2 Control the Weeks on bottom 3, that's very devastating. I had a lot of shadows to control the board, but also the good thing about this deck with the Anguish is that the Mugs and Look Over Theirs and these Subtle Auto with damage icon, they're very good at damaging my own Anguish, and also getting reward from it with the Look Over There, where I want to deal 2 damage unit to it where it survives, and then I can see an Amber. I'm the type of player that plays almost every card every turn.
Yeah, my teammate already accused me of only losing because I want to play the next deck in line.
Amazing. Did you even draw your graph before I had my second key?
Don't think so.
Yeah, that's also pretty hard.
Very late. It's very depending on the draw order. It can be amazing. So, for example, if you are able to control or prevent your opponent from forging with a charrette, then play, let's say, Logos with phase shift into Miasma, then go into Shadows Miasma, then Graft.
Holy
That
shit.
happens from time to time. It
Yeah,
could
yeah.
be like this, but yeah. And key to this is also very, very, very nice
Yeah,
to set up with the board and control the weak. It's all possible, but it's also possible to go in the other direction, like in this game. Yeah, happens.
Yeah, goddamn. Yeah, also like because keeping the graph like that can be very reasonable against like a very rush heavy deck, but like my deck can definitely make Amber, but it's not like a KOTE Untamed deck. So I understand why you mulliganed it. Well, depending on the whole hand, of course, but yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty mixed. So not many cards I would like to see at the start, and therefore I thought it could get only better.
Yeah. Except for the two miasmas, but that's such a niche case, so I understand it. I'm more able to agree with my mulligan of my hand being potentially a misplay because of the Valgerico, because it might not have been the best cards, but like when I opened his deck and saw the sass and also just looked at free control the weeks, two miasmas and a graft, I was just so intimidated. So I was like, I gotta have a really good hand, or else I'm not keeping it. The question is whether or not that actually was the correct play. But see ya.
Bye bye.